John and Mark had been best friends since childhood. They grew up in a small town in the Midwest and had always been inseparable. They went to the same schools, played on the same sports teams, and even ended up going to the same college. They were both good-looking guys and had their fair share of admirers, but they never really thought of each other in that way. That all changed when they met Rachel. Rachel was a transfer student from California. She was beautiful, intelligent, and had a personality that lit up the room. She quickly caught the attention of both John and Mark, but they were both too shy to make a move. Rachel, on the other hand, was bold and confident. She didn't waste any time getting to know the two boys and soon became good friends with both of them. As the weeks went by, John and Mark both found themselves falling for Rachel. They tried to ignore their feelings, but it became increasingly difficult as Rachel started to show interest in both of them. She would often flirt with them and playfully touch their arms or shoulders. John and Mark started to feel jealous of each other, but they didn't want to ruin their friendship over a girl. One night, Rachel invited both John and Mark to a party at her apartment. They both arrived at the same time and found themselves alone in the elevator together. The tension was palpable as they stood there, not saying a word. Finally, Mark broke the silence. "I have to tell you something," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. John looked at him, his heart racing. "What is it?" John's heart sank. He had suspected as much but had hoped he was wrong. "Me too," he said, his voice barely audible. Mark looked up at him, his eyes widening in surprise. "What? You too?" John nodded. "I can't help it," he said. "I know it's wrong, but I can't help the way I feel." He asked. "I'm in love with Rachel," Mark said, his eyes fixed on the floor. Mark sighed. "I feel the same way," he said. "But what are we going to do? We can't both be with her." The elevator door opened, and Rachel greeted them with a smile. They spent the evening drinking and dancing, trying to forget about their feelings for Rachel. But as the night wore on, John and Mark found them drawn to her more than ever. At the end of the night, Rachel walked them both to the door. They both wanted to kiss her, but neither of them had the courage to make a move. Rachel sensed their hesitation and leaned in, kissing them both on the cheek. "I had a great time tonight," she said, smiling. "Let's do it again soon." John and Mark walked back to their apartment in silence. They both knew that they couldn't keep their feelings for Rachel a secret any longer. They had to talk about it and figure out what they were going to do. The next day, they met up at a coffee shop near campus. They both looked nervous as they sat down at a table, avoiding eye contact. "We have to talk about this," John said, breaking the silence. Mark nodded. "I know, I've been thinking about it all night." John took a deep breath. "I think we should tell Rachel how we feel," he said. Mark looked surprised. "What?" Mark looked down at his hands, thinking. "Okay, but how are we going to do it? We can't both confess our love to her at the same time." John thought for a moment, what if we both write her a letter? That way, we can say everything we need to without interrupting each other. Mark nodded slowly. Okay, I think that could work. They spent the rest of the day writing their letters, pouring their hearts out onto the page. It was the most difficult thing they had ever done, but they knew it was necessary if they were ever going to move forward. The next day, they met up with Rachel at a park near campus. They both felt sick with nerves as they handed her their letters. Rachel looked confused as she read the first letter, but her expression quickly changed as she read the second one. She looked up at John and Mark, tears in her eyes. I had no idea, she said softly. I had no idea you both felt this way about me. John and Mark sat in silence, waiting for her to say something else. They didn't know what to expect, but they were both prepared for the worst. Finally, Rachel spoke again. I don't know what to do, she said, her voice trembling. I care about both of you.
Let your heart be swept away by the enchanting world of our YouTube channel. Subscribe now and embark on a journey filled with love, passion, and the magic of connection. As a subscriber, you'll be the first to experience our captivating videos that will make your heart flutter and your soul soar. Don't let this beautiful adventure pass you by. Click the subscribe button and let us serenade you with our romantic tales. Together, we'll create font color equals greater than memories that will last a lifetime. Subscribe for love.